All right, welcome to this Updates and Opportunity webinar. Glad you all could make it. Let's get some business out of the way before we begin the actual webinar. First of all, Susan, you're on the call. Congratulations. Susan Paris finished not only her Certified Legacy Advisor course, but also she just finished her CLP course. I am really looking forward to working with you. She is particularly interested in the vertical that we'll be talking about today. Val, one of my favorites I have enjoyed. Oh, did she make it on the call? I have really enjoyed working with her, just like working with Susan. She just finished her CLA course, and she is all but one module away from her CLP course, and I'm really looking forward to opening up some wonderful areas in the Baltimore, wonderful verticals in the Baltimore area. Tonight, we're going to focus on strategies to help build your business in the funeral market, particularly in the pre-arrangement area, but maybe not, maybe some other areas. That's what could come as a result of our exploration over here. Something that was brought to my attention by Roger, and it completely blew me away. This was not something that I was planning on. In the funeral industry, they have a campaign going right now that's called the Have the Talk of a Lifetime campaign. And let me play this little video. This is going to show you what they're doing to launch their Have a Talk campaign. And you're going to see that, well, excuse me, if this is not right in our sweet spot, I don't know what is.
Mom and I talk about everything, from our favorite books and movies, restaurants, and of course golf. But we never really talk about life, what's really important, and what matters most to the both of us.
We're all getting older. We're not here forever. And so that's why it's important for us to tell our stories.
It's not easy to talk about living and dying. It's so amazing to me to get to talk to my dad and learn more about his life.
What's important to me to talk to my daughter about the things that I did. It makes me feel that I matter and I made a difference.
We know each other very well.
Yes, and it's important for our family to know what really matters to us.
Knowing what matters most to the people we love the most is the best way to help remember them. Have the talk of a lifetime with your loved ones and learn what is important to them, what they value most, and learn about their life.
We have a wonderful life together.
And when the time comes for us to die, our family will know what matters to us.
When Mom retired, she took up knitting.
Oh, yes. I knit sweaters and mittens for the whole neighborhood.
How come you never knit me anything?
You never asked me to.
I love fishing, and I taught her how to fish.
He bought me a pink little pole, took me out there, and the thing snapped and broke. But it was a great experience. Learned all I need to know about fishing from my dad. My dad said he wanted to have the talk, but it was about life.
Have the talk of a lifetime.
Have the talk of a lifetime.
Have the talk of a lifetime with the ones you love and make the difference of a lifetime. Download this free brochure to learn how and when to talk about what matters most in life. The members of the Funeral and Memorial Information Council and your local funeral director are professionals who will help you honor the lives of those you love in whichever way you choose to memorialize them. When the time comes, we'll be here. But until then, get to know your loved ones. Have the talk of a lifetime.
I don't know about you, but if an entire industry is right now putting a campaign on to try and get people to talk about their stories and, and to do it ahead of time, can you even imagine? So, and I want to just say that I downloaded the brochure they talked about. Now, just for a second, I'll sidetrack on Larry's Legacy Labs. Do you see how powerful this is? Look at what they did on their homepage. They put one of these opt-in boxes. Give me your name, address, and zip code, your name, email, and zip code, and download and get the brochure. I did. You kind of saw their brochure in the video. It's so well done. It's a beautiful brochure. And what they're doing, obviously, is from an association standpoint, they're collecting names, and I'm sure that they're distributing them to their members. People who go to the home, organization, and if somebody get a zip code that is in somebody's area, they'll say, here, remember, here's somebody who inquired, and here's their email. You may want to talk to them about, getting in touch with them to go through this story. What I'm thinking is that this thing is potentially huge if you look at it right. So before I digress too far, take a look at this opt-in, and this is part of the Legacy Labs, and Larry's going to be taking this to the next level later. Margaret showed a great example on hers, and this actually gave me some great ideas of how to capture people's names and emails on legacy stories, that maybe as we do that, we can distribute those to you. So this is all just extremely positive. But right now, what I want to do is we have an incredible opportunity here to meet someone that actually is an owner of a funeral home. This is Roger Bartley, our special guest. He owns the Bartley Funeral Home in Minerva, Ohio, and also Declan Bartley Home in Melbourne, Ohio. We had the privilege of meeting Roger at the Columbus, the big trade show, the convention up there with Pat and Loretta. And I'll tell you, this has been one great relationship ever since. Roger has become not only an IASC member, but he's completed both his CLA and CLB course. And this is this is how he's able to incorporate and enhance what he already does in the way of story into his homes. And so being able to talk to somebody who actually can give us some insight to how a director or owner would be potentially receptive to working with an outside party like this. We're going to find out. We're going to talk to him and get a lot of information now. Take it away, Roger.
We just had a local gathering, the Minerva Homecoming, which is an annual event, community event with rides and all of the nonprofits get together and sell raffle tickets and things. They have a building where the for-profits get together, and we've developed this banner, Every Life is a Story Told. Let us help you tell the story, or tell your story. And I put those 5 pictures up. I've made pictorial memoirs of each of those, and I want to put together a video where we play those 5 pictures just with the music, and then follow that with them actually being narrated. It's been interesting since May, when I first stumbled on this. I've been experimenting with some families and throwing some feelers out as to what their interest might be. Put together this, like I said, every story or every life story is a story to be told. Let us help tell your story. As cremation has become more and more popular, not only the profit margins, but the total income to funeral homes has decreased significantly. In our area, cremation is now up to about 40%. So if you take 40% of your business and the revenue has dropped 50 or 60% because of that, that's a significant financial hit. So we're trying to find ways to be frank, to increase spending on the cremation side, and this is one of the ways. The casket industry is kind of trying to catch up, and the first thing that they did was to start with what they call personalization, and where you design the casket to your specific needs and your specific interest, now to memorialization. And this is one example. Batesville is one of the largest casket companies in the world, and they talk about Remember the Life. The bronze medallion comes from the insert in the casket. Those have magnets on them and can be displayed. And the little coins to the side are keepsakes that the family can purchase. There are personal mementos that you can get. They're doing enduring tributes, which are memorial videos, and they plant a tree in the person's memory. So this is to memorialize. The same thing happens with urns. I don't know whether you can see on the wood urn there's a treble clef representing the interest of music in this person. There's a veteran's emblem on the bronze, and it's an eagle in flight in that one to the left. This is someplace that I think we can really become involved by presenting people these kinds of options way before the funeral. As we're talking about their life story and how important they are, this is a memorial blanket, and we can get those in 24 hours after we meet with the family and they give us a picture. They also put on a Veterans Design contest, and as they said, for every veteran, there's a story of their life and service that deserves to be shared. And we're seeing this more and more in the various memorialization products and companies, that there's a story to be told, and funeral service is the place to tell it. Don't know whether you're familiar with thummies, but those are jewelry where we take the fingerprint of an individual and make it into jewelry. That shows you a necklace. You can do things like dog tags. You can do bracelets with those, buck knives with those. They are keepsakes that tell the stories. At our homecoming, we have an electronic fingerprint scanner, and we gave away a dog tag with a thumbprint on it. And the only catch was that you had to let us do fingerprints of you that are kept in a vault. Had a couple of people come in and buy thummies just give as gifts. So things in advance of the funeral, things that are memorializing. These are options that we can give people way before the time of death. Lifelong Memories is a company. They do candles and stationery products and personalized panels for in the caskets and plaques. All of these, I don't know how many hundred themes that we have, and you can see up in the upper right-hand corner, register books, folders, all with the individual's picture, depicting his life's interest and what was important to him. There are three areas that I think that we need to be in touch with homes on. Pre-need is the big one. That's the one that we hear all about, and looked it up in the dictionary, and it really points toward the purchasing ahead of time of funeral service. The trick with funeral directors is how do you get somebody into the funeral home with the interest to pre-purchase a funeral? We'll get to that in a minute. There's also aftercare. You've now had a family that has gone through a loss. They may have gone through all the pictures and allowed you to provide a video tribute, but they're in the mood. They're thinking about the individual, and what a great time to follow up with the family to help them put all of this in order as they're disposing of the household and getting ready for estate sales. To capture them and get them to put what was important about mom and dad in some kind of a permanent form for all the kids to have. And I coined the term pre-need. The trick is to get a family committed to your firm in such a way that in today's market they don't want to go price shopping later on, because they have a real connection with you. And I think legacy stories and developing a legacy portfolio and passing that on to the children ahead of time creates a bond that I think is second to none, and that's why I got excited about it in Columbus and why I'm excited about it now. I just think we're really on the edge. Funeral directors they do have pre-need consultants that can bring this up, but remember their goal and their livelihood depends on the pre-need funeral service that they can sell. But if you can bring them people who already have committed to telling their story, that they have it in shape, they know how they want to be remembered, this is really going to mean an increased income for the pre-need consultants, because these are going to be people whose attitude is not, well, mom's dead and we just need to figure out a way to dispose of the body so we can get on with things. There will be a commitment there that will translate into merchandise and services in the funeral industry. So if we can capture them ahead of the pre-need, we can steer them that way, and I think it's really, really exciting. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at the funeral home or at roger@bartleyfuneralhome.com. I've officially been in the business for going on 40 years now, and when you grow up in the funeral home, you get involved a whole lot earlier than that. So I've been dealing with families since I was 16 years old. So I've seen the changes, and I'm excited about the future, especially with something like this. So, Tom?
Wow. I am just saying, Roger, bless. Now, one of the things I'm going to do that was really tremendous, Roger, I got a lot out of that myself. I'm going to change presentation because I want to bring something up. I think this legacy checklist is potentially it is so big. And that's why I think pre-need consultants, if they can see what it is that we can bring, it's just having people be familiar with what in the world they have that needs to be considered when it comes to leaving a legacy. And that is, your will and estate plan and your pre-need arrangements and those things. It's almost like, listen, once you take responsibility for all of the things that are on that checklist, you don't have to do them all. But as a consultant and advisor, your goal is to work with your client until everything has been checked off the list. And you just work, and they can fill the list out, but you're just going to one thing at a time. Just consult with them, arrange. If you're a planner, you can actually do the work. If you're not, you can do some of the work and refer a lot of it out. And but the idea is to be able to know that to truly do a true legacy plan, you need to have all of these components. So is the idea, if you can be talking to people in the pre-need stage, I think the ideal way to do that is to get them into the conversation of filling out this legacy checklist, make them aware of what really is involved in passing down a legacy. If you don't make arrangements and everything goes bad, the last thing anyone's going to remember about you is the fact that you left them in this stupid place that everybody hated each other. If you don't take care of your will and your estate, everybody's going to argue over there, and that's how you're going to be remembered. It's essentially what you're talking about. And if everybody's going to, say, well, I want this piece of jewelry, or I want these, pictures instead of those, and the rest of it goes in the dump, that's how you're going to be remembered. So it does go hand in hand. Story is a big deal now, especially I can see that in the funeral industry. I was not aware of those percentages, Roger. That's really enlightening by itself. Who would we approach if we even wanted to talk about or show, say, our legacy checklist? I think by showing them our legacy checklist and showing them how one of the first things we do is to decide what they've done in terms of their planning, that we're essentially out there as their lead dog. And so that should get their attention. But who would we want to best talk to, Roger, about this? The director, the pre-planning, are they the same person?
You're probably going to eventually want to end up with the owner, but you may need to sell some of the underlings first on the concept before you try and knock on that door and talk to the owner, especially at a larger firm. And we are going to have to come up with a way to prove to them that we can even with selling our services and maybe selling some of the things that the funeral home sells or sell it on their behalf, we're going to drive that business back to them. One thing in doing your research is to find who really owns the funeral home. Is it a big corporate conglomerate like SCI, or is it a large family firm like Schedinger's in Columbus, Ohio? I think the large family firms would be much more receptive than the corporate, because they're going to end up going to the corporate office to get approval, where the family firms, I think, are going to be more receptive to us. Yeah, just in reflecting, and you talk about pre-need, it's been driven more by Medicaid than anything else, and Medicaid tends to be a near end-of-life decision where people have run out of funds to be in a nursing home. They're trying to get on the government program. In order to do that, they have to spend down all of their assets to $1,500, and one of the things that they're allowed to keep is a prepaid funeral. So that's really what the driving force was. So those people, they're interested in getting rid of money. So they're not, I don't think, our target, even though the people that they're dealing with, the family members that they're dealing with, are going to be rich in the heritage and the legacy that we're trying to pass down. Just in talking and listening to the other webinars, I think the Talk of the Lifetime deals with a younger generation, encouraging the older generation to talk to them. And so I think the Facebooks and the internet marketing are more of a key than the traditional marketing for pre-need, which has just been direct mail and telephone. And the Do Not Call list has pretty much wiped out the calling for pre-need leads.
It really, if you start up the ladder, and I think caregivers are a big place where this all can kind of lead its way down. Caregivers to the cared, then moving from in-home care to assisted living to nursing to hospice, which is a whole thing in itself that's really huge. And then obviously going to funeral, and then there's the after, what did you call that?
The aftercare program.
Aftercare programs, yep. And I do like the idea of talking to the children, who often will have a lot to say, be the ones to urge or even pay for having legacy programs developed for or at least putting a legacy portfolio together, which, by the way, building a legacy portfolio, I think really is, I can't say it enough, I still think that is what you're really trying to do for these people. And that can be something that somebody in their 40s or 50s can identify with. And also as part of, an estate portfolio, however you want to work it. I really think that this whole concept of building a legacy portfolio, getting people started to do their checklist and things like that, it gets people to start to tell them how to start the conversation and gives them different things to do. What do you think about, in a local market, getting the trifecta? Let's just say a hospice, a funeral home, an estate planner, an insurance person, getting that team and your legacy advisor together. And through their social media, advertising, however else you want to do it without spending a lot of money, put some kind of a notice out using your own email blasts, having opt-ins to register, and doing a live webinar. And in the course of doing that, I think that there's a way that you can sponsor the thing and, get awareness. You can bring these things up. You can run through it and just give everybody have everybody take a mental tour. Part of what you'll do is you get on the webinar, everybody downloads and prints out the checklist. Let's just take a mental tour. Let's talk about it. Let me show you what a checklist looks like when it has been filled out, when you've thought about this. And then it's a matter of, now that you have all that, there's a process that you go through, and just a zip. And I actually was thinking about doing a recorded version of this, and I, in fact, am going to do that, so you can see how you might be able to take 20 minutes of a checklist, run through the mental tour, and bring them through. I have that little pre-set up video, and I have to set up as if you were doing this live. You guys know those videos I show. And I'm wondering if we couldn't do something like that and really make it a compelling argument. And in the course of the end of it, give away a prize, give away whatever you're going to do. But you've got the opt-ins, you know who registered, and you know where they are, and you know, to somehow or another be able to contact them afterwards, or give some kind of a thing that makes them buy something or contact you. You need an advisor to do this. These are the people who will help put your program together. And if you can get the advisor to have the meeting with them, I believe, as Kevin has said, the advisor is the quarterback of the team. The CLA and the CLP, it's the person who, once they're in there with the family, can look at the scope of what they have to deal with on the checklist. They're the ones that say, listen, what you need to do is we need to build a portfolio. It's going to take a little bit of time, and we'll work within your budget to do it, but we understand, because we'll make the case for them. We'll sell it in the webinar, in a sense that we'll just make it overwhelmingly, you need to get going and do this, and you know it can be overwhelming. That's why you have assistance, and that's why you do these. In other words, to actually get people involved, first of all, from a very personal, fun, non-threatening, I'm not sweating it out, I don't worry about dying, but the more you do it, the more you ask them to invite other people. But it would seem to me that if you could get a gathering of people together, even if it ends up being 20, 50, or pray tell 200 people that get on a webinar like that, I think you can generate tremendous leads. And the trick is to get the advisors in front of them to help them put their portfolio together. So it's worth it for the estate planner to let all of their clients know. The funeral directors, they tell the families that if, there's going to be somebody else in the family that's going to die, but they contact all their families. Hey, we have this thing that's happening here. I really think it's important for you to look at. The legacy advisor does their social networking and moves the thing out. You work your social media. You try to really get it so everybody gets to meet everybody's clients. And in the course of doing it, the quarterback's going to be referring everybody to the team. So I'd like to get some suggestions on that. I would actually not only record one, but I'm not sure that we couldn't do a one that's a national webinar that could be done, where they come, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be somebody locally that's doing it. It is a webinar that could be done on a national level at a given time and date and on a regular basis. But from a local basis, you're just getting your team together saying, listen, there's 3 dates over here. We're choosing this one. That's the one we want to be on. Let's promote it.
I think that sounds like a really great idea. As you started in, I thought you were going to head in the direction of just a local gathering, a workshop type thing, which we have done in the past.
How'd that work?
Really was pretty successful. In our little community, we would get 30, 35 people out.
Really? Did it cost you money to do that? How did you do that, please?
It cost the rental of the facility, and we would have an attorney talking about estate planning. We'd bring somebody in from Job and Family Services to talk about Medicaid, a financial planner to talk about life insurance and financial planning that way. And of course, since we sponsored it, there'd be a funeral director to talk about pre-need arrangements and pre-planning your funeral.
All this in what, an hour and a half or something?
Yeah, yep, about that.
Wow.
As you were talking, again, you're focusing on the pre-need,
right,
of getting people in. And the other end of this is to talk to the funeral home about referring people to you in the aftercare program.
I agree. So what's in it for them to do that? Because I think that's really rich.
Oh, what's in it to do them is to, I think here's where you really build the relationship with people who, at the time that a death occurs. I know we get a lot of referral business that mom and dad have both died, and the kids say, yeah, we need to really do that. And there are several good aftercare programs where we follow up with a letter reminding them that they wanted to do that, and now's the time to come in. Well, of course, the farther it gets from the incident, the less likely they are to come in and make arrangements. But if you tie them in with a legacy counselor who is working with them to preserve the legacy, then this can be a part of that plan. That you really, if you're putting this portfolio, you really need to get everything in place. Yes. Yes.
Okay, because a lot of people do wait to the end, and then when it's there now, what we tried to tell you before, and you wouldn't listen, now you've experienced it. Let's not let that happen to you. So when you get a chance, let's get together and go in here. You're saying that funeral homes already have a program like this, but if there's another way to really enhance that program is by working with a legacy advisor to send them in to work on their legacy content. And in the course of doing that, in this checklist, we need to make sure that you get your pre-arrangement done too.
Right. And the other thing, these may be people who just had mom or dad cremated, and we're going to have a memorial service, in 6 or 8 months, and then they never get around to doing that. And as they're working through the legacy plan, begin to talk to them about what you missed. You didn't have that time to really share all of the memories and things, never really got around to it. You don't want your kids to have to go through that. So this is the legacy that you're setting up. It just makes sense to make your arrangements, and don't you want more than just have an immediate cremation and hope that the kids will do something later. This is a way to sit down and say, yeah, we do want to have a memorial service. These are the things that are important to us. These are the things that we want them to share with their friends and with their family, how important we were to them.
By the way, I want everybody to understand, what Roger is doing here is all of those programs that we have designed, and I am in the process of now redesigning so that they work with the app, apply to, remember we have our assisted living welcome program, we have the hospice volunteer training program, which I am telling you is the gold mine of gold mines, and the estate planner program as well, and now the potential for this aftermarket program is essentially the legacy rescue plan. And the idea is that now that Roger is a CLA and CLP and understands these things, he will be contacting his local hospices, his assisted living. He knows the people very well. He doesn't need their loyalty. They're going to refer to him. It's a small town. They've known each other forever. And they're going to be able to put these programs in and fully train their hospices, fully show them how pictorial memoirs can be a great way to raise money for hospices, as well as the benefits that they can be for the family. And also the hospices deal with the family, as Dennis says, they'll deal with the family in the grieving part after the funeral. They sometimes go in there, and that's a great chance for them as well to recommend or suggest, once they have worked in the beginning, which a lot of times you only got 2 weeks and there's just not enough time to do the work that you should have. Now that they've sort of gotten started with that and going through the funeral and afterwards, you can see that the grief counseling that they give, it's the ideal place for them to then say, and in addition to that, there is, let me talk to you about this checklist, and I want to introduce you to a legacy planner who can help you with this. And I just think that there's an incredible opportunity, and Roger will be putting these models in his area, assisted living program, all of it. So, and it's all of that, especially the hospice and assisted living, they all funnel right through to him. And so in the funeral space. So as these things get developed, I'm just so excited because he'll be able to show us them in real life, real working. And I think that you don't have to wait for that to happen. This is happening right in your area right now. Okay, I will put together a recorded webinar that takes you from the beginning to the end of the whole tour of the checklist. I then want to see if even on a larger scale, we can't put together something where we invite everybody to come to a webinar, and we'll put it on there, and we will, promote it so that when they're on, we do one webinar, but you're the one that invited your people. I think the webinar could be a real good thing. I do want to thank Roger very much for being here on the call. I appreciate you coming, Roger. It was very, very nice of you to take your time. I can't wait to get back together with you, because this is, I'm just telling you, you can see it. We're right in that sweet spot, right in there. They've got a campaign to do it. Why aren't we taking advantage of that? Thank you very much, Roger. I appreciate your time tonight.
It's been a real pleasure. I enjoyed it.